When everything around you dies, when the world closes in and the only company you have left, just keep breathing. That's what kept me alive when nothing else made sense. It fell in the Arctic, a monster that dwarfed the mountains, its shadow swallowing the horizon whole. To call it a giant would be an understatement. It was as if the heavens had torn themselves open and thrown this creature down like a curse. No one knew what it was. Some said it was a god, dead or dying. It didn't matter. From the moment its corpse hit the earth, everything changed. The head of this creature, this thing, fell beyond the sea, with wings that blackened the sky for weeks as they rotted. The world beneath them grew dark and cold. I heard stories that its flesh spread like sickness, infecting the land, the water, the air. But the real terror, the one no one was prepared for, came when the body broke open and they crawled out. The Kaiju. The first wave were the size of buildings, their bodies twisted, with fangs like blades and eyes burning red with madness. They feasted on the remains of the giant and grew stronger with every bite. Then came the smaller ones, the scavengers. Some were like bugs, others hybrids. They hunted in packs, and even the strongest cities fell to them in the weeks after. Humanity never had a chance. That was over a century ago. I wasn't born in that world. I was born in the scrap fields, among the wreckage of what came after. Blood-stained sand shifted under my boots. I couldn't move, barely think. The stench of rotting flesh, the sickly sweet decay, clung to my skin, soaking through the rags I wore, all around me. I swallowed back the bile and forced my feet forward, step by agonizing step. I could still hear the crash of waves behind me, the pull of the tide, but I didn't dare look back. I couldn't. The dark tide was close, closer than I'd ever let it get to me before. Scar, the mini kaiju, classified as a sea dragon, was waiting for me. Its coral-like scales gleamed under the blood-red moon, the monster shifting through the shadows like it belonged to them. Its eyes locked on me, hungry. It had killed my father, ripped him apart in front of me when I was just a kid, left me an orphan. After that, my mother, she couldn't take it. She took her own life before I was even old enough to understand why. Better to be an orphan, she used to say. She would have been wrong. Family, found by blood or by birth, was family, and here I was, with nothing left to lose. The Shawseers, the tribe that raised me, said the sea dragon came from the stars, freaks born from the corpse of that first god, drawn to blood like sharks. I could still hear their chants when I closed my eyes, their words about destiny and power, but they weren't here now. They weren't the ones watching the darkness close in around me. 10 of us had set out to hunt scrap that morning, and now I was the only one left. We had heard rumors that a mini K named Scar was in the area, but we needed the script. The tide was low, and all the best scrap was buried in the dredge. The scrap from the dredge was vital, especially in these times when every piece could be traded for food or supplies. It was during one of our brief breaks, while we huddled together, sharing water and rations, that the first sign of trouble had come. A distant, haunting howl echoed through the wasteland, sending a shiver through our group. We had all heard the tales of Scar, the Mini-K known for its ferocity and the devastating trail it left in its wake. I knew of them better than most. After all, Scar had been the kaiju that killed my father. Despite the growing unease, we pressed on, driven by the need to secure enough scrap to last us through the coming weeks. The sky was clear, the sun casting long shadows over the dredge. When Scar appeared, its silhouette cutting through the haze like a nightmare-made flesh. The group had scattered in panic, each of us trying to escape the impending threat. We had barely managed to gather our wits before Scar's wrath descended upon us. The battle that ensued was chaotic and brutal. Scar's claws slashed through the air. Its roar reverberated through the dredge. We fought back with everything we had, makeshift weapons and sheer determination, but it was clear the odds were not in our favor. Rip, render, ravage, bite, claw, tear. My hands shook as I gripped my father's rifle, a relic from a dead age. I wasn't even sure it would work anymore, but it was all I had. The barrel pressed into the soft flesh under Scar's scaled armored hide, right where its heart would be. The creature roared, waves crashing against rocks, splashing cold salt water against my face. I squeezed the trigger, and the shot rang out. The recoil had sent a shockwave through my arms, and the scream that followed, it was like the world was tearing itself apart. Scar's howl cut through the night, high and sharp, rattling my bones. I felt its last breath cold against my skin as it collapsed over the top of me, its massive claw scraping down my chest, leaving a deep, jagged line through my already broken clothes, ripped clothes. Numb, bleeding, barely conscious, I pulled myself from the beast's side, my chest heaved, my breath shallow. One strike, one shot. That's all it took, but at what cost? I slumped down against the creature's head, the ocean's light flickering across its scaled corpse like a broken gemstone. My fingers wrapped around the hilt of the bone knife at my side. No hesitation, I carved into its neck, through the scales, the flesh, until I reached the core. Crabs, miniature scavengers, scurried around the corpse, drawn to the blood, but I kicked them away, too weak to do more than that. The head, I needed the head, proof that I wasn't weak, proof that despite everything, despite being an orphan, an outcast, a runt, that I could still survive. As the head rolled to the ground, I saw it, the wisp, a glow that flickered beneath the creature's flesh, the core, the source of its power. And then I realized I was bleeding out, a sharp stabbing sensation in my side. My vision blurred, but I couldn't stop myself. I was starving, desperate, and without thinking, I sank my teeth into the creature's flesh. One last meal. I wasn't going to die hungry. The taste was like shards of glass, cutting through my mouth as the core shattered against my teeth. I hadn't even realized it was there. I had been so hungry. Its energy flowed through me, burning my veins, tearing me apart from the inside. My bones felt like they snapped, my skin rippling as I screamed, half buried in the sand. Not like this. Not like this. Monster flesh was toxic, though a few humans could stomach it. But the core, that was something else. It was the kaiju's essence, pure, wild ether. I was good as dead. And then I heard it, a voice, deep and numbing, like the earth itself was speaking. You are what you eat. And darkness
Oh,
swallowed me.
oh my.
I don't know how long I was out. When I woke, the world was still shrouded in night, the sky hanging low with clouds thick and heavy, the moon no longer visible through their weight. My body ached, every muscle, every bone, like I'd been torn apart and stitched back together, but wrong. The first thing I noticed was I was surrounded by silence. The sea dragon's corpse lay still, half buried in the sand where I left it. The crabs that had swarmed earlier had now scattered, and several of my companions' bodies had been dragged away by the tide.
It's flexible.
The crabs that were around didn't dare come near Scar. Not anymore, not with me here. I pulled myself up, my fingers sinking into the damp sand, slick with blood, mine and the creature's. My hands shook, but not from weakness, from power. Something was different. I could feel it in my chest, in the steady thrum of energy pulsing through my veins. It was as if the whole world had slowed, the sound of the waves, the wind, distant, as if I was listening to them from underwater. The voice echoed again, low, like a growl, as if it was part of me now. You are what you eat. I looked down at my hands. They weren't the same. My fingers, once thin, scarred from years of working in the scrap fields, were thicker, stronger. My nails. No, not nails anymore. Claws, black and sharp. Panic surged through me, but I fought to control it. I'd seen something like this before. Kaiju hunters who bonded with beasts, who consumed their cores and gained their power. But that was reserved for those with classes, for warriors or tamers, people chosen, not for people like me, those barely scrapping by in the shadows. But there was no denying it. I had eaten the core. The energy was inside me now, fusing with my flesh, changing me. The pain in my chest flared as I shifted, trying to stand. My ribs creaked, the fractures knitting together faster than they should. My skin itched as I watched it close over the deep gashes left by the dragon's claws. It wasn't just healing, it was something more. I staggered to my feet, my vision tilting for a moment before leveling out. In the distance, the sea hissed, the waves breaking against the shore, but I could hear something beneath it, a low rumble. Something else was coming. I could feel it now, the air, the tension, the pull. My heart raced and my breath caught in my throat. Whatever it was bigger than Scar and hungrier, and I knew what I had to do. Grabbing the dragon's head, I slung it over my shoulder, its massive weight surprising me with how light it felt. Before, it would have taken everything I had to drag it even a few feet. Now, I carried it with ease. I turned, the sound of footsteps echoing faintly over the beach. At first, I thought it was the ocean, but as I scanned the horizon, I saw them, figures moving far off in the distance. They weren't human. Kaiju, smaller than Scar, but faster. Mini Ks, their bodies slick, their forms barely visible in the night as they moved in packs and hunted like wolves. They hadn't seen me yet, but they were close, too close. I had to move. My body responded with defiance. I tried to move, but every muscle screamed in protest. My body felt like it had been crushed, bones brittle, flesh seared. I could feel the blood, thick and warm, seeping into the sand beneath me. But there was something else, something more, a hum deep, deep inside, thrumming through my veins like a pulse that wasn't my own. You are what you eat. The voice, it came from everywhere and nowhere. I tried to sit up, groaning as the world spun, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. My bones felt off like they didn't fit quite right. My skin prickled, burning in strange patches. I flexed my fingers, watching the flesh stretch unnaturally. My nails longer, darker, sharper like claws. And I dragged myself toward the water's edge, leaning over the shallow pools. My reflection stared back at me, a twisted version of the man I used to be. My skin had taken on a sickly hue, veins glowing faintly beneath the surface. My eyes, once brown, now burned with a strange, eerie light, a reflection of the kaiju's energy that surged inside me. I stumbled back, gasping for air. Panic clawed at my chest. I had seen this before, seen what happened to the ones who fed too greedily on kaiju. They changed, slowly at first, but it was always ended the same, madness. The energy consumed them, warping them into something else. But I wasn't like them. I couldn't be like them. I had barely even eaten that much, minus that one part of the core. I wasn't just some scavenger who accidentally bit off more than they could chew, and yet I chose this. I didn't think I would survive, but I knew what I was doing when I sank my teeth into that beast. I wasn't going to let the monster inside me win. And if I was going to die, I would die at home on my own terms. I pushed the panic down, forcing myself to focus. The pain in my body had dulled, replaced by a strange numbness. I stood, legs trembling but holding firm. The world around me felt different, sharper, clearer. Every sound, every scent more vivid, more intense. The distant crash of waves, the faint rustle of the wind through the broken dunes, the taste of salt in the air. I was changing, but maybe this wasn't such a bad thing. I reached for my father's rifle, the weight of it familiar in my hands. It grounded me, and I looked back at the corpse of the sea dragon, the headless body that lay twisted and broken, and I could feel the hunger again, gnawing at my insides. I forced it down. I couldn't afford to lose control. Not yet. The air shifted. I wasn't alone. I turned, instinct screaming at shadows shifting in the distance, the figures that moved between the rusted wreckage and twisted debris. My vision sharpened, and I could make out their shapes. The broken things, smaller than the kaiju, but just as dangerous. The mini cave.
Stefan,
Yeah,
15 minutes. So wrap up the which paragraph you got.
uh, I'll just edit there.
Oh no,
Okay.
please finish where you if you have a little, I mean, do you feel that that's a stopping point, or do you have like a couple more sentences that would make it end, or
I'll read this part.
okay.
Was alive, barely, but alive. I glanced back, the glow of the sea dragon's half-eaten monocore still flickering faintly beneath the surface. You are what you eat. The voice echoed in my mind louder now, more real. I wasn't just Draken anymore, not after this. I had taken in the power of the kaiju, and it had taken me too. But I was still here, hungry, starved, still breathing, and as long as I kept breathing, I'd survive. I had to.
And can you just share, is this something that's already published or that you're still writing? Or where would people who want to follow up with the rest of the story?
It is currently available on my Patreon. I have a free members thing, and all of my work can be read by free members as well as paid members. And I'm currently posting this one. I think I have the first 7 or 8 chapters posted so far, and I have most of the first book written. My plan is to write a trilogy and then publish it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing. And Tori, thank you for being here also
No
and for
problem.
introducing us to your cat in our previous panel. Uh, and so